Hello all, Dave here, and today I've got a shoe here that I've been looking forward to for months, which is the New Balance Rebel V4. I've done around 2 runs in the New Balance Rebel V4 so far, totaling around 50 kilometers, and I just wanted to share my first impressions of the shoe. Was it worth the wait? Before we get into it, let me just quickly walk you through all the specs and features of the Rebel V4 quickly. The New Balance Rebel series of shoes has always been aimed at delivering a lightweight daily trainer that's also fun to run in, thanks to being based around New Balance's rather soft fuel cell midsole. It's meant to be a do-it-all sort of shoe, and for 2024, like much of the New Balance lineup, it got a complete redesign from the ground up. Specs-wise, there is a little bit of a bump up in the stack height. New Balance is claiming 30mm at the heel and 24mm at the forefoot for a total of a 6mm drop. However, looking at the shoe now, it does feel like the stack height might be a few millimeters higher than that even. If we compare it to the Adidas Boston 12s for example, the stack height looks similar, and for reference, the Boston 12s have a stack height of 38mm at the heel and 31mm at the forefoot. So I'm not sure how New Balance are measuring the stack height compared to other brands, but the stack height does seem comparable with other daily trainers out there at the moment. The extra amount of midsole in this shoe doesn't seem to have affected the weight though. It's even slightly less than the last version, weighing in at around 230 grams in my size 10.5 UK. It's now officially the lightest shoe I own now, even lighter than my Nike Alpha Fly version 1s. Sizing wise, I did find the sizing was a little bit on the small side. I don't think I would have wanted to go up half a size, but there's definitely less length there than other shoes in my rotation in my size 10.5. Width wise though, surprisingly the Rebel V4 was pretty good here. They seem to have made the toe box wider than previous versions, and the material used is quite flexible, so this should mean that it'll fit a wider range of people's feet. Now that we've been over the basic specs, let's get into a bit more detail about the construction and what I thought about the New Balance Rebel V4. Let's start with the upper and work our way down. The upper is made up of a really fine, slightly coarse mesh, which New Balance calls their Phantom Fit upper. It's thin and in some places even see-through. Although the thin upper might be a bit alarming in terms of durability, it does feel fairly strong, and I don't think you'd be getting many tears anytime soon. And the advantage of that thin material is you get some really nice airflow over the feet, so this shoe should feel really nice in the summer. The material is fairly flexible, which provides a comfortable fit and a bit of give in the toe box for people with wider feet. Towards the midfoot, there's a little bit of structure here provided by overlays in the form of the New Balance logo. And in the heel, there's also a bit of added structure for some stability. Although here, there's a distinct lack of padding. The only bit of trouble I had with the shoe was around the heel collar, where out of the box it was a little bit stiff and it did dig into my ankle and draw some blood. Although I slapped on an anti-blister plaster on my ankle and it seems to have done the job, and hopefully this section of upper will wear in and become a bit softer over time, which should eliminate this issue. Although I will report back on this after I've ran in the shoe a bit more. Overall though, the fit has been fairly positive and comfortable. You can get a really nice lockdown and there's no movement in the heel for me. And there's a nice little internal elasticy band of material which just hugs the foot from the inside of the shoe, which just makes the shoe overall really comfortable, despite the minimal upper. Okay, moving on to the star of the show, which in this shoe is the midsole. New Balance has made a big thing about the addition of PIBA into their fuel cell midsole for the Rebel V4. I'm not 100% sure what the ratio of PIBA and EVA is, but I remember reading somewhere it was around 80% EVA and 20% PIBA, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, regardless of the ratio, the midsole feels a bit more structured and even more bouncy than before. To be fair, I haven't tried the Rebel V3s out, but I have ran extensively in the Rebel V2s. With the midsole on the V2s, I found the foam to be very soft and lively, but over longer distances I found the midsole to be bottoming out a bit and becoming a bit harsher. The 4th version does not seem to have that issue now. I think the added PIBA and a little bit more stack height just gives the midsole a little bit more structure and protection underfoot. Don't get me wrong, the fuel cell foam here still feels soft, but it doesn't feel like you're sinking into it as much as other versions. It feels like you're getting more energy return for your efforts and a very smooth, effortless ride. The increased width in the midsole can be felt and is much appreciated. You can feel the shoe is more stable than its predecessors, even going over ruts and cobbles. The shoe always felt planted, and I never had any hair-raising moments where I felt like I was going to roll an ankle or anything. Although it's more stable, just some warning, it's still definitely not a stability shoe. It's very much a neutral shoe. These new midsole characteristics on the New Balance Rebel V4s mean the shoe is even more versatile. This can easily handle faster, speedier sessions, but now also longer runs, which I wouldn't have tried in previous versions of the Rebel. After my 25km long run, I felt like I could have taken the shoe even further, maybe even to the 30km plus range, which is pretty impressive for a shoe this light with a claimed 30mm stack of cushioning. Lastly, let's take a look at the outsole. Here, like the rest of the shoe, they've completely changed the outsole, although they haven't really done anything dramatic. They've just really changed the pattern, and the rubber coverage seems to be a similar amount to the previous versions of the Rebel, with just a little bit of added texture for some added grip. I haven't had the chance yet to test these out in really wet conditions, but I don't think I'd have any concerns over grip here. This is something I will address once I've covered more miles on the shoe though. So to summarise my first thoughts, I think New Balance might be onto a winning combination here. I really like how light and responsive the shoe feels, and combined with just enough cushioning to make the Rebel V4 feel really versatile for any sort of running you pretty much want to do. The shoe will do it all. Intervals, daily runs, long runs. It's a sort of do-it-all shoe, where if I was going on holiday and I could only pack one shoe, I'll definitely take the Rebel V4 at the moment, hands down. Don't get me wrong, it's not going to be as fast as a carbon-plated racing shoe, and it's not going to have the amount of cushioning that a max cushion recovery shoe will have, but it's a nice blend of a little bit of everything. I'll carry on putting in the miles on the New Balance Rebel V4 over the next few weeks, and I'll probably do a more in-depth review after 100 miles, just to see how the shoe holds up to wear and tear. So stay tuned and subscribe if you want to hear my thoughts, or if you're interested in any other running gear reviews. But for now, I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I'll see you in the next one.